So the consumers understand that everything is business, but by adding that authenticity and emotional quotient, you differentiate yourself.
Hi, before we get to this week's podcast, I'd like to tell you that Automated Creative are releasing a book called How to Make It in Marketing, Volume 1. It is a collection of the best marketing career advice we've had from over 200 episodes of the Shiny New Object podcast. You'll hear from some of the biggest, brightest and best names in the industry telling you how to grow your career. You can reserve yourself a copy at this URL. So get your pens out. It's bit.ly, so bit.ly/make-it-in-marketing. So that's bit.ly/make-it-in-marketing. But the make it in marketing bit is in capital letters. So bit.ly/lowercase and the rest is make it in marketing uppercase. I think you should get your heads around that and enjoy. It's a great read. Hello and welcome to the Shiny New Object podcast. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where I have the pleasure and the privilege of interviewing one of our industry's leaders about their vision for the future of our industry. What could be better? I'm on a call today with Kavita Yadav, who is Assistant Vice President, Marketing and Communications at Genpact. Kavita, thanks for coming on the podcast today. For anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do, could you give us a bit of a background of who you are, where you've been, and what you do today?
Sure. Hi, Tom. First of all, thanks for having me here. If I talk about myself, then I'm a senior marketer who believes in value-driven marketing initiatives. Over the years, I have been working with some of the B2B technology organizations, and I have been fortunate to have worked in almost all domains of marketing. So be it demand generation, brand marketing, content marketing, account-based marketing, or very recently, creative marketing. So with my experience over the years, I know that we have to have a customer-centric approach in everything we do. So yeah, and I'm fortunate to have worked with some of the greatest and kindest minds in this industry. And that has not only helped me to grow professionally, but also as an individual.
Don't think anyone has ever said that they've worked with the kindest minds in the industry on this podcast before. So it'd be good to know who they are at some point.
That's a trait, that you really find, because I have been, that's why I say I'm fortunate enough to have been able to work with some of the kindest mind. And if you ask me, the current team that I work with, so my colleagues, I think he's the kindest person that I have met ever. And in fact, I have become more kind just by being interacting with him. So that's why I say that it's really fortunate to have people in your lives, who can have the impact on you in a positive way.
And Kavita, what I would like to know is how do you deal with overwhelm when things get too much? Because you've done a really broad range of roles. There's a really impressive list of different areas you've worked in within marketing. So at some point, I'm sure it's all been just too much. How did you get yourself out of that mindset? Yeah,
I think the one simple thing that I do is that I take a break. And that's the thing that anyone and they can do it. So taking a break normally doesn't mean that you have to go on long vacations or, have a long break. It can be just 5 minutes break or 2 minutes break, First, you have to detach yourself from all the chaos, before you can handle it. So that's what I do. And, at times just connecting with nature also helps me get back on track, even if it is like momentary. You just look around, look at the plants, look at the flowers, and look at the birds chirping around. So in my balcony, there is a water there the birds come and drink water. So you look at that and you feel refreshed and you get back on track. You get back to your work. So generally, I am a very disciplined and calm person. So I don't get overwhelmed so easily. But when I do, then taking one thing at a time really helps. And then I always think that, you cannot control or change everything. So don't worry about things that are not in your hands, but take control of things that is in your hand and make it work positively. So you just have to have a positive mindset and just, relax, just take a break. That's what I do. And things get in place as they normally do.
Well, even the calm nature of your voice has calmed me down a little bit. So that's I like the idea of little birds playing on the windowsill, but I'm not sure everyone has that pleasure, but I think it's a great bit of advice. Moving from mindset to an actual marketing tip, what is that bit of advice that you find yourself sharing most often that's really resonated and helped move your career forward?
Yeah, so see, marketing is such an interesting discipline where you get a lot of agility. So the marketing tip that I would like to give is that you should work towards creating a memorable marketing message and be a creative storyteller to deliver that message. So how do you create that memorable marketing message? So this is possible only if you have a human angle to your marketing message or campaign and have an emotion attached to it. Because in these evolved times where marketing has really evolved, so only the salesy pitch or just information about your product or services is not going to do a trick. You should be authentic and tell a story which instantly connects. So as I said, that we are in the world of evolved marketing. And I really get impressed with some wonderful marketing campaigns, and most of them have a sentiment attached to it. Sometimes it's sensible, to stray away from your main marketing agenda. Like the overall company might have some agenda, some business profits and all those things, and tell stories that make your brand more memorable and likable, because that's the value that is going to stay. The more creative you get with your storytelling of the values that you have, or the marketing campaigns that you're trying to deliver to the market, the more likely you will stand out and improve your brand image. So I keep coming across, some of the very good marketing campaigns which has these, human thing to it, which has the capacity of creating those memorable marketing message. So recently, I would just like to quote the example from a diaper brand Huggies. So they found research showing that, positive impact of hugs on babies. So not only babies, only the positive impact is also on adults. But, hugs help build their immune system. So that's the research they came out with. It stabilizes their vital signs. It improves brain development, etc. So this inspired the brand's No Baby Unhugged campaign. So that stick to your mind because it is somewhere relating to you, So you're creating a message which is going to have a memory within you. So that campaign aimed at educating parents about the benefits of skin-to-skin contact and providing volunteers in hospitals for babies in need of hug. So you see the human angle and instant connect there. So that's what I'm talking about. So consumers today, they are very well aware and have great exposure, This is the information age. So everything is on your tips. You want it and you have it. So the consumers understand that everything is business. But by adding that authenticity and emotional quotient, you differentiate yourself. They are not likely to respond positively, as much as they used to the salesy content that was really very much in maybe 5-10 years before. But now the brands and we need to develop better strategies to build that authentic relationships, And one thing that I really want to say is that we should always respect our audience's time and intelligence. So there are there are so many brands who are really playing on this thing. So you talk about Cadbury's, you talk about Nike, you talk about Adidas. So you name it, and brands are really now understanding these things. So I think the human angle or the memorable message that you can create. So that would be my marketing tip, and I really try to take that even in everything I do, so that there is some kind of connection and warmth attached to whatever you do.
Can you give me an example of that memorable marketing message and human angle approach in B2B?
Yeah, so recently, in Genpact, so we have been really experimenting and doing a lot of campaigns with this warmth and human touch. So I do remember one message, so the calm, so there's a, like in insurance and those things that we are providing the services. So when there's a lot of catastrophe and there's a lot of, destroy and there's like a lot of chaos, then you get the insurance people, then you give them the calm, the calm after the storm. So the whole message itself, the calm after the storm. So it gives you some kind of warmth. Yes, there would be some support. So those kind of messaging and those kind of warmth that you build in your marketing message is really going to work, and it connects with the audience. And there is authenticity as well, that those services that you're providing is for them to come out of that disaster,
That's a great answer. And I think we should probably talk about off air about how you think that my business could advertise itself better using memorable marketing messages with a human angle. It's difficult in B2B, in ad tech sales and marketing, but it's a great point. Although I think the Huggies have it slightly easy with cute babies and hugs. I think it's a bit easier. But as you say, it is a lovely example of that. This episode of the Shiny New Object podcast is brought to you in partnership with MadFest. Whether it's live in London or streamed online to the global marketing community, you can always expect a distinctive and daring blend of fast-paced content, startup innovation pitches, and unconventional entertainment from MadFest events. You'll find me causing trouble on stage, recording live versions of this podcast, and sharing a beer with the nicest and most influential people in marketing. Check it out at www.madfestlondon.com. So we're going to move on now to your shiny new object, which is purpose-driven marketing. So I'd say this is a contemporary object. It has been around not that long, but it's certainly a shiny object for a lot of brands, and a lot of people are moving towards it. So what is purpose-driven marketing to you, and why is it your shiny new object?
Yeah, I think you're right that it has been here since quite some time, but in these times, especially after COVID and how the world has changed, so purpose-driven marketing has really taken the center stage. So as we know, the times have changed and marketing has never been so evolved, and it has become more humane. We have been through really tough times, and consumers have become more socially and politically engaged. They are more aware. So in these certain times, if one thing is certain, is that consumers are demanding more from brands, and that's what makes purpose-driven marketing more meaningful. So they want them to speak up on social and cultural issues, and they want to know what the brands stand for. So with this focus on sustainability and company ethics, so it all has taken a center stage, and it has value in it. So it's also a great opportunity for brands to build loyalty, and it also is an opportunity to differentiate themselves with authenticity and purpose. So obviously you cannot fake it, right? So the audience is very smart. So marketing is not anymore just about product selling and giving information about your services, as I mentioned before as well. It needs to have an overarching purpose. It needs to have a human connect. For example, I recently saw this marketing campaign by Vivo. It's a mobile brand, if you know. So they have this switch off campaign, where a wife sends an email to her husband informing him about her ill health in email, in spite of the fact that he was physically present with her. So smartphones have no doubt made our lives easier, and we cannot imagine our daily routine without it. It is great innovation, but its excessive use is weakening human relationships. And many times, so they are also drifting us away from our loved ones. But this campaign, so this purpose-driven marketing is playing here, right? So this campaign focuses on this critical topic. And in spite of a smartphone, which has to be used more and more, it urges people to take some time off and switch off their phones and switch on their relationships. So it is an example of more considerate marketing and has a purpose. So that's what I'm trying to say. So purpose-driven marketing is something which is really going to pull other audiences, So if you see the companies and organizations, they're talking about mental well-being. They are talking about carbon footprints, LGBTQ+, and whatnot. So everything has to have some purpose. So whatever marketing campaigns, if I specifically talk about marketing, so it has to come down from the, the overall purpose or the overall thing that your company stands for. So one of the benefits of purpose-driven marketing is that it allows a brand to express its values. And when your audience connects with that value, or when consumers or your target audience relates to those values, it's a genuine pull. So it has to be authentic. So that's the main thing. You cannot just be there and be in the trend that, yes, we have this value, and you're really not practicing it. Because with the rise of social media So, and there's a lot of network things that are there. So brands can be, they can be held accountable. And it's very easy, so you must have seen there's so many things also, because it is increasingly vigilant and demanding marketplace. So you have to be very genuine. So purpose-driven marketing, as so we also call it cause marketing. So one of the strengths of the marketing as a discipline is that it's very responds to the nature, it responds to the market conditions very quickly. And purpose-driven marketing is a strong example of this. So whatever is in trend, so companies may pick it up. But if you're just picking it up without any foundation, without being to it since long, so it's not going to work. So it's a long thing. It's not just a momentary thing. So it is something which has to be inbuilt. So it is designed to showcase a brand's commitments to higher order impact, which is purpose-driven marketing promises more to its stakeholders and to the wider society than simply just the quality products and services, which is obviously there. So, there are like good products in the marketing, good services in the marketing. But what is going to differentiate is the value that you're providing. So that's why I say, so beyond giving back and creating common good, this approach can enable profitable growth for companies by increasing brand appeal and customer loyalty.
So there's a handful of brands that obviously play perfectly into this. I guess Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, businesses, Burt's Bees, like businesses that were just kind of environmentally centric from the outset. And I think they have pushed the industry towards that kind of thinking. But most businesses, really, their authenticity or their core was to make someone lots of money somewhere at some time, right? That's why they were set up. I mean, yes, sure, you got passionate people, but if you're outside of a lifestyle business or a kitchen sink business, someone wants to get rich, right? That's why they did it. Pretty much, I would have thought for the majority of products, it was someone's entrepreneurial vision to go and do this. Then it scaled. That person may have left the business, maybe not. But generally speaking, you will have custodians of that brand. And then they have to try and find a way to have a cause, have a purpose. But how can that possibly be authentic if it wasn't there in the first place?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, so the businesses are there to make profits. So no doubt, everybody knows that if you have set up a business, then it does mean that you are going to earn profits. Otherwise, the business will be just, it will not be there if there's no profits, because they have to have people, their jobs, their salaries, everything. So what I'm saying that you, after a certain level, when you are like you're a brand, when you're a esteemed brand in the market, and then you also have a responsibility towards the society. For example, Adidas, is a fashion brand. So it is also known to be one of the, purpose-driven marketing leader, and it is a company. So I know that, for example, they have the sustainability and fashion, they really don't go well together, because fashion is at times, at the cost of so many natural things. But Adidas has committed to step to it. For example, I was reading somewhere that from 2024, only recycled plastic will be used by Adidas, and by 2050, all production will be climate neutral. So these kind of steps, which they are like, they are following it. So they are also doing it. They are not just preaching it. So it's not only for the marketing campaigns that they are placing out the values, that they have those values, they are standing for it, but they have to practice it. Starting from the top, like from the leadership and the way they deal, the way they do businesses. Like if you're talking about the carbon footprint, then you are talking about it, but then in your marketing initiatives, you're not really considering about that. So those kind of informed decisions and being judicious about what you are doing, minding your steps, and being really considerate in everything. So that is going to change the game.
So how do you do it? So say, for example, someone who's listening to this podcast has just got a new job, pay rise, exciting move, and they've arrived in this business and there's none of this. There's no purpose. There's no reason for this brand existing other than to sell this product. But this person wants to make that difference, wants to make that change. How do you start?
Well, it's very easy. The first thing is that if you really want to make a difference, you can, start by switching off the extra lights that might be just, be on in your house, or maybe start using less of water. Don't do a lot of...
Sorry, let me clarify the question. I mean, at that brand, so they've got the new job at the brand. How do they get that brand to become a purpose-driven brand if there's no activity in that area at this time?
Okay, you mean to say So I really didn't get the question. So brands are there and they want to become purpose-driven, but they don't have the opportunity, or what?
I was imagining someone who's just started a job at a brand and they've arrived at the brand, brilliant opportunity, but that brand is not focused on any purpose. So how do you get a brand who has no purpose to having a purpose? What are the steps that someone could take?
Yeah, so obviously, so once the brand comes to a level where there is a, saturation, like, yes, you are doing what you have been doing and you have been making profits. So you have to go to the next level. And so how do you go to the next level? So you have to differentiate yourself. So that is the point where you have to understand that is the value. So the market that we are now in, that is seeing the value-driven marketing campaigns and value-driven brands, So people are more loyal and more attracted to the companies and brands which have some values. So that company will have to understand, otherwise they will be left behind. So they will only be a product and services company, and they can be just lost in next 10 years, because you have to understand that if you don't follow the things that is going to keep you alive, then you may just become redundant, So it's not just services, because there would be a lot of people would be offering the same services and same goods and effects. So unless and until you really have some great innovation, which nobody's going to do it. So the companies will have to understand. So if you join a company and you are in touch with the leadership, so you can just start the conversation, like what is the value that you're providing to the society? Because after making some profits and after being able to survive, from all those hardship. So what is the next step? What is the next thing that we're going to do? What is the evolution that we're going to make? So those kind of questions, the right questions, if you think over them and, try to answer those things, then obviously you will realize, the team will realize, the company will realize that, having a purpose for the company, and you will have to think, so for the local area, what is that thing that you can really support and genuinely support? Not just for the sake of, being a value-driven company. It's okay if you don't want to support anything. So you can just be, providing the best of services, goods, and good experiences. But then you should be clear that you don't want to focus on the value-driven or purpose-driven kind of approach.
I really like that last question to ask the CEO. What is the value that this business is providing to society? It's as simple as that. And what a brilliant question to start that conversation, but also to finish this podcast. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for bringing purpose-driven marketing back to the front and center of my thinking. And I hope we've done that for the audience as well. But if someone wanted to get in touch with you, Kavita, how would you like the audience to do that? And what makes a really good message to reach out to you?
Yeah, I think, so as I said, the social media is really on the rise. So I think LinkedIn is one of the best platform that is, I really appreciate. And I think that's a place where people can reach out to me. And I would really like people to be very straightforward and, just be direct. So that's something that really makes sense to me.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Hi, just before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to write a review of the Shiny New Object podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it's called these days, or whichever podcast provider you use. We're an indie podcast, so it would go a long way for us if you could just share the word and give us a bit of a support on those channels. That'd just be fantastic. If you haven't got time, that's also cool. And yeah, if you could tell your colleagues about the podcast, and also, if possible, don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to speak on the podcast or be a guest, or you think I'm asking the wrong questions, anything, I'd be super interested to hear what you think. So please email me at tom@automatedcreative.net. That's TOM at, I'm not going to bother spelling it. Anyway, you'll work it out. Thanks so much.